Can pumpkin muffins really be this moist, soft, and melt in your mouth delicious? Oh, I bet you they can, and they're just perfect for fall. In today's episode of Rabia Unfolded Recipes, I'll be showing you how to make some soft, spiced pumpkin muffins. They are warm, comforting, and everything you like about the fall season baked in one bite. So, grab your sweaters, light your candles, and let's fill your kitchen with all those cozy fall aromas, cinnamon, spice, and everything nice. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your love and support. You make this journey so special to me, and I really do appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss any of my weekly recipes and cozy inspirations. Okay, so now let's bake up some pumpkin magic together. Okay, let's dive into the ingredients. For this glow-up pumpkin muffin, I'm gonna be using my 1 3/4 cup all-purpose flour. You can choose to use whole wheat flour if you want, or any other flours that you have available. Next, I'm gonna be using 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, already ground here as you can see for that flavor, half a teaspoon of ginger, half a teaspoon of nutmeg for that flavor. If you have whole nutmeg, please feel free to use it. But for today, I'm gonna be using the ground nutmeg because that's what I have available. So feel free with what you have available there. Next to it, we have a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, ground cloves, for that extra flavor. Then I have half a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. You can choose to omit this if you don't have it available and use the other ingredients, but that's still gonna work perfectly. And you will still get that spicy aroma that we're going for. Now, that's that for my dried ingredients. For my wet ingredients, I'm gonna be using 1 cup of pumpkin puree, which I got from the store and just removed from the can and put it here so it can look nice and presentable. I'm also going to be using half a cup of pure maple syrup, or you can choose to use honey in place of this if you don't have maple syrup available. So next to it, I have a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. It's going to add that depth and flavor that we're going for. Again, 2 large eggs. Please make sure the eggs are room temperature. I always like to use all of my ingredients for baking in room temperature. I don't want them too cold because you can put them in the oven and after you're done baking, you'll still see some lumps or some frozen particles in it, and that's not what we want here. So make sure your eggs are in room temperature. But if they're not in room temperature, then you make sure you mix them very nicely so everything can combine. Next to it, I have 1/3 cup of melted coconut oil, or you can choose to use olive oil in place of coconut oil, but I just love coconut oil for that flavor, right? Again, I have my 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt, or you can use any dairy alternative of your choice, but I always just like to go with Greek yogurt. Then I'm gonna be using 1 teaspoon of my pure organic vanilla extract. For the add-ins today, so I'm gonna go with some crushed walnuts. I'll just put it in half of the mixture when we've already mixed everything together and I've scooped out some of the muffins. Then I'm gonna put this in half. So I just want to have a variety, half with the walnuts and half without the walnuts. And again, for my topping, I'm gonna be using some pumpkin seeds just to give that extra color to it. But come on guys, just take a look at this beautiful pumpkin bowl here. Isn't this adorable? Since I really did love it, you know what I did with it? I added my toppings in here. Come on, what is pumpkin without pumpkin seeds, right? I just love these green pumpkin seeds as I'm gonna be using them for the topping, and it will make a great contrast and give that beautiful pop of color that we're looking for to make this recipe unique. You can choose to use any other toppings of your choice, but for this recipe, I'm gonna be going with pumpkin seeds. Also, I have my baking cups available, 2 clean bowls where I'm gonna be mixing my ingredients in. And then I also have like my whisks, have my dough scoop. That way I can scoop out the dough and put them in my baking tray, and a baking tray as well. Also have some very beautiful and colorful fall gloves here that I really do love. They're just so beautiful and they give out that pop of the season, which I really do love. Okay, let's dive into the mixing here. Okay guys, so to start with, let me check up on my oven and see if there's anything inside. Yes, clearly there is. I'll take this out of the way. And then I'll start by preheating my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for bake. Then I'll go ahead and line up my baking tins with my muffin cups. So I'm going to be using two types of baking cups, the white one and the gold one, just to differentiate those pumpkin muffins that are going to be plain and those that are going to have some walnuts in them. But please go ahead and fill up the cups in your baking tray. If you don't have any muffin cups, then feel free to grease your baking pan here. You can use butter for greasing. You can use some non-stick oil for greasing, or you can also use like margarine or some vegetable oil. Any oils that you have available are also good for this greasing of the tin. Then you can set them aside and continue with the mixing. Start by sieving my flour, my all-purpose flour here. I always like to sieve the flour because it gives me that air that I need for the mixture. And I believe that when you sieve it, your mixture is going to rise so well. So go ahead and sieve your all-purpose flour. I'm going to be adding in my baking soda. Sieve it as well. Add in my baking powder and my pinch of salt and also sieve it. And I'll add in my cinnamon powder and my pumpkin spice and also sieve it in there. Oh, look at that color there. That's so nice. I really do love it. And the smell, guys, it's already smelling so nice. Oh. Next, I'm going to be adding my ginger and my cloves and the remaining green spices that I have, and also just go ahead and sieve them. And my nutmeg. Okay, you see, the nutmeg still have some lumps there. So I'll just go ahead and crush them nicely with my hands. Feel free to crush them or throw them away. So now that my dried ingredients are sitting nicely in this bowl, I'll go ahead and mix them together so they can mix up all nice and beautifully. Look at that color, guys. It's already bringing in the color that we want here, the color that we're going in for, that fall color. Mix your flour and the dried ingredients all together so nicely. Take your time here, guys. You want to make sure that everything mixes so nicely, and then you set them aside. Once everything is nice and combined, you can set it aside and proceed with the wet ingredients. So for the wet ingredients, I'm going to be adding my pumpkin puree. See how nice and beautiful the color looks here. Add it in a bowl. Make sure you scoop out everything from the bowl because I already had them measured, so I don't want to lose that measurement, right? Look at how gorgeous the bowls also look. Next, add in your maple syrup. Ooh, oh, that's so good. This already looks so good, guys. Next, I'll be adding in my brown sugar. Then 2 eggs. And now I'm adding in my already melted coconut oil. So I always like to add just these first, then I go ahead and mix them well, make sure everything combines nicely before I add the remaining wet ingredients. So let's do this. I think I should use my whisks instead of the stapler here. So now it's time for me to add my Greek yogurt. But if you don't have Greek yogurt available with you, feel free to use any other dairy products that you have. You can use heavy milk or whipped cream. You can use buttermilk. Whichever dairy product you have available with you, add it at this point in time. I'm going to be adding in my vanilla extract at this point in time. That way I can mix everything nicely and then we continue to the next step. So you see, the reason why I like to add my Greek yogurt after is because the first mix of the wet ingredients kind of makes it a little bit lighter and you know what you're going for. You already know if your consistency is the right one that you want. Then when you add the Greek yogurt to it, the mixture is going to thicken, right? So you see how it's thickening, just the right consistency that we want. You don't want to over mix at this point in time because you're still going to add the dry ingredients and mix it again. So let's leave it as is and bring in the dry ingredients. Now I'm going to add in my dried ingredients in 2 portions. So add in the first half, mix it, and then add the next half. But please just make sure you don't over mix at this time. That clearly is more than half of the mixture, but no worries. We'll just go ahead with it. Mix it nicely. Oh guys, the smell of the cinnamon and those spices is just irresistible. So yeah, I will add in this next half. For this next half, I don't always like going with my whisks for it because I don't want it to be too mixed. I'll just make sure I take out the dough from my whisks and continue with my stapler. This will be a perfect time for you to add any of your add-ins that you want to bring into this dough. Dark brown chocolate chips, walnuts, which we're going to be using today, some shredded almonds. But since I'm going with half of the plain muffins and half with the add-ins, I'm not going to add it right now. I'll take my time, scoop out the first half. I'll add my add-ins, mix it, and then scoop out the next half. So I'm going to be using my dough scoop here, scoop them out into the baking cups. This comes so handy because it just gives me the right quantity that I want. And it makes me have like a very nice and clean job. That is what I love. So now I'm going to add in my walnuts for the next half, mix it a little bit, and then I continue and add them in the baking cups. Then I'll go ahead with my pumpkin seeds. The contrast of this is just going to give this beautiful popping color that you would love. You can use any other toppings like I said before, but for me, for this recipe, I want to go with my pumpkin seeds since it's that season. As much as I would love to just sit and admire this, we still have to get them baking, right? If not, we're not going to have the muffin that we're going for. Now, oven is already nice and hot, so I'm going to stick it in the oven to bake for another 20 to 25 minutes or until you pull it out and insert it with a toothpick and that toothpick comes out dry. Then you know that your muffin is ready to go. So let's time it here. I'll go with 25 minutes, but I'll make sure I check once it's 20 minutes. Perfect. My oven just signaled me that everything looks, oh wow, I don't want to look at this by myself because it's just so gorgeous. Okay, let me bring the camera closer so you guys can see with me. Come on, look at this gorgeousness. The pop of colors, the pumpkin seed, it just blends in and gives this beautiful color that we're looking for. Perfect. So I'm gonna take it out and let it sit for a bit so it can cool slightly before we eat it. And now guys, for the moment of truth. That spicy pumpkin smell is just everything. It is so good. Look at the inside, guys. So good. Well, thank you so much for staying along and watching this movie with me. I hope this recipe adds some warmth and sweetness to your fall. And remember, beautiful souls, don't forget to nourish your glow one cozy bite at a time. Cheers.